What's up guys, Jaden here. Welcome back to another YouTube video. Likewise, I'm not going to spend a lot of time editing because I want to go straight into the point. And today's point is why productivity systems does not work for everybody. And if you are in the market looking for a productivity system, you have read books, you have taken courses, or you are planning to take courses, and you have watched tons of videos like this, and maybe you have even tried a productivity system, or you've tried a framework but it just didn't work, or you're still struggling with it, this video will help you out. So I want to talk about why productivity systems does not work for everybody, and this is based off of my own experience for the last 5+ years of trying to find a way for me to get the most back when I'm working. So from my personal experience and the solutions of how to deal with this. Right, so I'm going to highlight some of the main problems first, and it goes down to 3 main problems that I have discovered. The first one is why productivity system does not work for a lot of people. It's because everybody's chronotype is different. So if you're not sure what a chronotype is basically what type of person you are, right? Are you a morning person? Are you a regular, like a bear chronotype? Like for me, I'm a bear chronotype. So it's the typical 8 to 5, right? Where I wake up at 8 and then I usually get tired around 5 to 6 p.m. And then there's your night hours where you function very well at night, right? So everybody's chronotype is different. So when you adopt a system, when you adopt like a productivity system that requires you to wake up at, let's say, 5 o'clock, right? Or 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and you are a night owl, that's where you'll find difficulty and you struggle a lot, because it clashes with the type of person you are, right? Because your chronotype, if you are a night owl, you're the most efficient at night, but because you're required to follow the system and you're required to wake up at 4 a.m. and 5 a.m., which is typically, I guess, the time you sleep, then that's where, a lot of friction comes into play. So everybody's chronotype is different, and that's why like one productivity system does not work for everybody. So that's first. And secondly, all of us, our commitment is different. And our commitment changes with different phases of our life, right? At some phases, you maybe have more time to spare in the morning, right? Where you don't have any commitments in the morning and you can spend you can wake up at 5, right? You can wake up at 4 o'clock, you can wake up at 5 o'clock. And this maybe can happen for 2 to 3 years. And then 2 to 3 years later on, maybe you have a new job, maybe your commitment changes, you have kids that you need to look after, and that's why you don't have the mornings to spare already, right? But if you follow a productivity system that requires you to work wake up early in the morning, then that's where it's going to be very difficult, right? So the commitment changes from time to time. At some point in time, we have timings we have free time in the morning. At some phases of our life, we don't have free time in the morning, right? So commitment, again, is one of the things that will make following a system slightly more difficult. So the third problem is variations. Some of us prefer variations. We want to have different variations when it comes to working. We want to have different variations when it comes to system, right? And some of us prefer mundane, right? We don't want a lot of variations. We just want a very, very consistent system that we can follow, right? So if you follow a system and you are someone who prefers variations, then that's where you're going to struggle a little bit, right? So these are some of the main problems why a productivity system will not work for everybody, okay? And for me, personally, I've tried a lot of things. I've tried like the 5 a.m. club, which is I have to wake up. I've tried it for close to 6 months to, I think, 8 months, so close to a year. And what I essentially had to do is every single morning I have to wake up, I journal, I meditate, I read, and I also exercise. And so it's quite tiring, because after trying it for 6 to 8 months, it's still pretty tiring for me to wake up at 5 o'clock every single day. I have also tried 1 hour routines where I basically do breathing techniques, breathing exercises. I go for sun exposure, which means I go down and expose myself to the sun. I do grounding work, which is I take off my shoes, I walk around the park, so I've tried a lot of all this tasks. And The thing about this kind of productivity system, it's fun because you get to learn, like you get to kind of like experience what doesn't work and what works for you. But the main problem here is when something doesn't work, right? When something doesn't work and it's supposed to work. Like when you see all these videos that talks about productivity, that talks about how it worked for a lot of millionaires, that it worked for a lot of successful people, and for some reason it didn't work for you, right? It's very demoralizing. It's you beat yourself up. You feel like, you kind of almost feel like you failed at this system or this routine because a lot of people have seemed to work it out, but not for you, right? And I think that's the main problem about productivity systems. Like it's very, it's almost like you're beating yourself up because if it works for a lot of people, it's supposed to work for you, right? But in this case, it doesn't. This is what I personally find after going through like all these different steps to find a system or a framework that work for me. So this is my kind of like my advice if I were to give myself this advice when I first started out, and my advice to you guys as well. So number one, if you're following a system or following a framework and it doesn't work for you, do not beat yourself up, right? Do not demoralize yourself, the self-talk that you have with yourself, right? Do not try not to beat yourself up, because you have to understand what you're doing is you're trying to see what works for you. You're in a process of trying to find out what worked for you and what doesn't work for you. So don't beat yourself up. Think of it like you're trying clothes or you are doing food tasting, right? When you're trying clothes, you're trying to figure out what size works for you, what style works for you, what colors works for you. Like you don't beat yourself up when you try a size and it doesn't fit you. You don't beat yourself up over that. Right? So similar with like food tasting, if you try something that is not to your liking, you don't beat yourself up for that as well, right? So essentially when it comes to finding a productivity system, when you're following your productivity systems, right, all these routines, like these different methods, these different techniques, when something doesn't work, just remember you're trying to see what you like. You're trying to see what works for you. So don't beat yourself up. Don't have all these demoralizing talks with yourself. Last but not least, try. See what works for you. If you see a video or if you see a resource or if somebody tells you to do something or they tell you not to do something and you feel like, you want to try it out, go ahead and try it out, because what doesn't work for somebody else and what worked for somebody else may not be the same for you. And so with all this kind of frameworks out in the market on online platforms nowadays, there's a lot of different frameworks, a lot of different techniques and stuff like that. My advice to you is just try and don't beat yourself up. Experiment what works for you, experiment what doesn't work for you. And essentially what you're doing is you're trying to find a style, you're trying to find clothes that fits you, you're trying to find food that you like, right? So there's no wrong, there's no right. You're just trying to see what works for you. So that's what I have for you in today's video. I think it's a very short video, so hope you like it. I have created a new Facebook group that it's aimed to help you guys out. So if you have any questions regarding productivity, online business, marketing, SEO related stuff, please feel free to join the Facebook group. It's free of charge and ask your questions there. And if you want to learn how to come up with your own productivity system, I have a new course that's launching in about 7 to 8 days. If you are interested to find out more, the link is down in the description below. And if you like this video, please help me to press the like button, subscribe to the channel, so every single time when a new video releases, you'll be first to get notified. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Stay safe, take care, cheers.